Your life might be a mess right now. At least that's what I assume if you chose to watch this video. Maybe things were looking up for a while. You started taking better care of yourself, made some friends, and your inner dialogue was becoming more positive. But then, a series of setbacks piled up, dragging you into a deep, dark slump. Or perhaps your whole life until now has felt like an endless, bleak nightmare, where you don't care about anything and just surrender to whatever makes you feel worse about yourself and your situation. Either way, I'm sure I can relate at least a little. Not too long ago, I had very few friends, only about $10 in my bank account, terrible grades, no job or clear purpose, and very low self-esteem. So I asked myself, if I had to start completely from scratch, no friends, no money, out of shape, locked away in my room all day hating myself, how would I fix my life? That was the question I wanted to explore. To find out, I tried to replicate exactly what I would do to pull myself up from rock bottom. But before trying to steer my life in a better direction, I needed to make that direction truly mine. Most people just drift through life hoping to find their calling eventually if they keep doing what they're doing. Even worse, some don't realize that if they don't choose their own purpose, someone else will choose it for them. This step is about taking control by creating your own purpose. The night before I started this journey out of the rut, I wrote down exactly why I wanted a different life and who I wanted to become. While figuring out my why, I kept in mind Maslow's hierarchy of needs, a theory by psychologist Abraham Maslow that arranges human motivations in a pyramid. Each level contains things most people need to feel safe and fulfilled. I made sure my why matched one of these needs and was clear enough so I wouldn't lose track of my goal. So, I spent some time journaling my reasons, and I want to explain what I wrote and why. This is what I wish I had started with when I first began trying to improve myself and care about how I spent my days. First, I want to wake up energized every morning, not exhausted. Second, I want to enjoy my body, not just because it makes life easier or others treat me better, but because it helps me feel good about myself. This covers safety, love, and belonging from Maslow's hierarchy. Next, I want a fulfilling job where I feel I contribute positively to the world and can support myself financially. I also want a close circle of friends to enjoy downtime with and who support me emotionally. Finally, I want to live more in the moment, appreciate my limited time on Earth, and love the journey instead of obsessing over the destination. Then, I began defining my new identity, the person I aim to become. If you're unhappy with who you are or what others say about you, just be yourself is bad advice. Everyone has unique qualities, but if you're stuck, you either haven't discovered yours or aren't using them positively. I started imagining the person I could become, someone I'd be proud of. I visualized how they looked, what they told themselves, the life they lived, and wrote down what it would take to get there, a plan to follow. I made a list of bullet points for this new identity. I won't go through all now, but I kept them visible as a foundation to build upon and transform myself. The next part of stage 1 is the most important because it's when real change begins. Once prepared, ask yourself, what's the smallest next step toward that identity? We want this process to be simple and doable because many fail when overwhelmed by thinking of the entire journey at once. Trying to change everything simultaneously leads to burnout. Focus on no more than 2 small changes at a time. My first small step starts tomorrow morning. Not using my phone for the first hour of the day. I'll do this by putting my phone in another room. That's it, no distractions until I finish this step. Once done, I'll move to the next small step. Before bed, I'll tear out the pages with my why and new identity and tape them on my wall, so I'm constantly reminded of my purpose and who I want to become. That's how I start the first day out of this huge, hypothetical rut. Good morning. Today is day 1 of climbing out of this dark place. I've been awake for about 30 minutes and already kept my phone away as planned. Next, I'll focus on my next small step. Every day, I'll write down 3 goals I want to achieve. Each time I complete something, no matter how small, that pushes me toward my new self, I mark a W on my board. I started today with a W for avoiding my phone during the first hour. I'll keep track of wins, W, and losses, L, all day. Since one goal is 30 minutes of movement daily, I'm going outside now for a simple walk. That counts as another W. Afterward, I'd imagine going to my part-time job as a busser, which I had when I was struggling. Then back home for a simple workout. Even with no gym experience, a few home exercises are a great start. Completing that earns me another W. Next, I'd work on writing a YouTube script. If I were starting over, I'd still want to do YouTube because I love it. To make videos, I need a script. Let's say I finished half the script. That's another W. But I also count an L because I used my phone too much while writing, losing some focus. Being honest with myself matters. So, for WS and 1L makes today mostly a win. Finally, I'd like to improve my social skills. As someone with few friends and poor social experience, I set a goal to say hi to a stranger and maybe ask a few questions. I went to the grocery store, talked briefly with the cashier about a recent football game. Small but meaningful. That's my last goal for today. As days pass and I keep asking myself what the next smallest step is, I start seeing progress. For a while, things go smoothly as I build good habits and drop bad ones. But if I'm serious about change, after a couple of weeks, the excitement fades and I hit a roadblock, being too hard on myself. Failure is inevitable when trying to improve. You'll slip, lose motivation, and struggle sometimes. What separates those who succeed from those who don't is the ability to keep going even when it gets tough. That hard part is called the dip. It's when you begin to regress, old negative habits return, and promises to yourself feel harder to keep or vanish. This is the crucial moment to analyze your self-talk. Why is it negative? Who planted those thoughts? How can you become aware and change them to positive? I journal every negative thought under dip thoughts. Some I had were, I'll never be strong enough, I always fail, others can do more than me, I need to do more. I trace these beliefs back to my childhood, times when I was happy and confident, but later was conditioned to believe I wouldn't succeed, worn down by family or peers. These negative beliefs weren't facts but programmed messages. Instead, I transformed these into growth mindset thoughts by finding matching positive affirmations. For example, I'll never make progress became, I'm making progress, even if my brain doubts it. If I keep going, I'll improve more. I always fail became, failure is a chance to learn. There's no hope, changed to consistency brings big changes. Whenever these negative thoughts appear, and they will, I stop, write them down, and reframe them. This helps me not to spiral into despair or quit. I still have negative thoughts sometimes, but now I manage them instead of letting them control me. Every day, I look at my why and identity pages taped to my wall, reminding myself of my purpose and who I want to be. Eventually, I'll climb out of the rut and become a new person. After a few months, you should notice better energy, mood, and well-being. Things won't necessarily be easier, but sticking to your new habits will feel more natural. Wherever you are now, you can look back proudly at having escaped one of the darkest ruts imaginable, all by finding your first smallest step. Thanks to all my Patreon supporters. Patreon is a platform separate from YouTube where I share exclusive content and offer one-on-one chats. Link in the description. If you struggle with social skills and making friends, check out my playlist on building relationships. Thanks for watching. Please take action on this video instead of just watching. Love you all. See you soon.